Hi, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Tomas. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below. Feel free to request anything, and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. Feel free. And this is for Flight of the Phoenix from 2004, which I have seen this before. It's directed by John Moore. Now, John Moore is one of those guys that I did enjoy Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson. That's the only film of his I've enjoyed. Now, this one is tolerable, but to me is kind of just a big meh of a movie. I don't hate the film, but it's one of those... I don't think it's that memorable of an adventure movie, survival movie, however you want to put it. And John Moore has done worse. He did the Omen remake. He did Max Payne with Marty Martinez Funty Bunch. He did A Good Day to Die Hard that I saw in the theater, and I liked it because I got to see a Die Hard film in the theater, and I love the franchise, and yay! And then watch it at home and I go, I played myself. I played myself. Because I still love Live Free or Die Hard. I saw it in the theaters. I've seen it multiple times. Still love that film. Die Hard 5? No. Is it the worst movie ever? No. But is it a disappointment? Step down? It really is. John Moore's not that good of a director. He's not that good of a filmmaker. I think I did a list of my top 10 worst directors. I think I put John Moore in there. If not, he deserves to be. He's a horrible fucking director. Horrible. Please don't ever work again. Please don't. Now, this is a remake of a film from 1965. Now, I never saw that film. But apparently the cast is like Jimmy Stewart, Richard Attenborough, Ernest Borgnine, pretty stacked cast. So maybe one day I'll have to check it out. But it's a remake of that. And also apparently one of the writers of this film is the actor Edward Burns. Which, I mean, I don't mind him as an actor. He was in 15 Minutes with Robert De Niro. He was in A Sound of Thunder. He was in Alex Cross as I think he was the partner to the lead. I like him as an actor. I did not know he co-wrote this film, although I think his script was rewritten by the other guy. At least I think that's what Edward Burns said in a written interview, that he had written a script and it got rewritten. I don't know. And there's some recognizable people in this cast. You got Dennis Quaid. I love Dennis Quaid. Always been a fan. I like some of the stuff he says nowadays because I agree with a lot of what he says. Always been a Dennis Quaid fan. Inner Space, Frequency. Giovanni Ribisi is in this. Tyrese Gibson, who of course in the Fast and Furious movies. Hugh, Laurie, who is in a favorite TV show of mine, House MD. Sticky Fingers, he's in this. Jacob Vargas, which, I mean, he goes back to Ernest Goes to Camp, and I think he was in The Hills of Ice 2, the newer one, and he's been in other stuff. Jared Padalecki, I forgot he was in this, who would be in the Friday the 13th 2009 film. He's known for the TV show Supernatural. So a lot of recognizable people in this. And the plot is pretty simple. This oil rig in the desert is being shut down. The company has gotten Dennis Quaid and has told pilot Tyrese to go down there. And what they're supposed to do is get the last remaining workers. Hey, this place is shut down. We need to get you the fuck out of here. We get you the fuck out, and we're going to take you back home, get on the plane, Some people aren't happy about it because, hey, they don't want to lose their jobs, but just how it is. So they get on the plane, but a sandstorm arises. Now, Giovanni Ribisi warns them that you have to go back, but they don't listen. They think they can overcome it, but they don't. It screws up the plane. The plane crashes. And so now the remaining survivors are trapped in the middle of the desert, and they have to figure out what to do next. Which ultimately the plan is to take parts of the plane and rebuild it into a smaller, a new plane. Make another plane out of the remaining parts. Now, like I said, I do like this cast. I just do not think this cast had much to work with. I don't think this cast had much in terms of interesting characters. I don't think that the movie really made you feel the danger of being in this situation. We're in the middle of the desert. And sorry if you wonder what I'm doing, just stupid sinuses from this damn weather. I know I keep mentioning that in videos, but you might not have seen the other videos. This is maybe the first one you've seen. Anyway. What I mean by that is, as time goes on, I don't even know how much time goes on. I know at one point they say they have like enough for 30 days. But I'm never quite sure how long it's been. Has it been 2 days? Has it been a week? Has it been 7 days? Has it been 10 days? Because they're only able to eat canned like peaches, limited amount of water, blaring sun, and they, by the end of it, they're not really worse of wear, as in the bodies still look fine. They don't even look like they got fucking sunburned. Hell, if I was there for 10 minutes, I'd be sunburned and dying. Like I said, it doesn't look like they're worse for wear. You think even, if it's been 20 days and you barely have much to eat than canned peaches or whatever, they would be thinner and you'd be like slower. I don't really feel that throughout the film. And the characters don't really come off as interesting. Dennis Quaid, he tries what he can with his Quaid charisma. But he's just the pilot that he doesn't want things to be his responsibility. Until finally, when the time comes, he gives this speech that gets them going to get to the final stretch of the film. Giovanni Ribisi, he's this weasel mouse. I don't know how to put it. Like, he's small, he's got glasses, he's a know-it-all. He comes with the idea to build a new plane. He says he knows about planes and orders them what to do, and he's a guy that's a bit callous. But on the flip side, you kind of get what he's saying, because if you don't do this, then they're all going to die. So it's like what he's saying is technically right. It just doesn't come off as likable, but that's the point of it, to be fair. Tyrese, he's just there to be the sidekick to Quaid, and doesn't really have a whole lot of memorable moments. Hugh, Laurie, like I say, a lot of them are just kind of there, just on the sidelines, kind of looking around. They say a few words here and there, but really nothing that noteworthy I could really talk about. And you have characters that don't really have much in terms of personality. You have really bad splotches of CGI scattered throughout it, whether it be the sandstorm that looks god awful because this is 2004 CGI. It doesn't look so over 20 years ago. It doesn't look that good. I don't mind the idea that a propeller screwed up. It took off of the plane, goes back, and goes right behind Dennis Quaid's seat into the plane. Although that kind of bit was done in Con Air back in 1997, where the blade's off and it goes back into the plane. So it's not like it's original. But the CGI sandstorm looks really bad. There's a bit where one of the characters gets lost, goes out to take a piss, and it's nighttime, but then the storm pops up and he just lost in the shuffle. And it's like very stormy skies, and that was done CGI, and that looked really bad. There's a bit where there's an electrical storm, and it's all done CGI. But you did some pretty iffy splotches of CGI throughout the film. They throw in this bit, I guess, to add more danger. I guess they thought that this would be too boring, so to add some excitement. They have these bandits where they find, because when the plane crashed, one or two people fell out of the plane. They find one of those bodies, but they realize that someone's been using them for target practice, so they see these shell casings. And then you did a little bit of like a 40-second action bit, where there's a little bit of gunfire, a little bit of shooting. But that really feels like more of an afterthought than anything. Like I say, you don't really get much a sense of their turmoil or their torment through all of this. And they don't even have goddamn sunburns. And I don't know, it didn't feel like there's a whole lot going on. Like, granted, you're in the middle of the desert. What more can you really do? But like I said, I don't really get much of a sense of these characters. I mean, hell, the movie starts, and within 10 minutes, we're already trashing, or ready to trash. And that includes the opening, 2 or so credits, 2 minutes of credits. So you don't really get a sense to even get who these characters are before the shit hits the fan. I'm not saying you need to spend an hour on them, but like, goddamn. And then when they're down, it's like, okay, Jato Fardis and Sticky Fingers, they talk about cooking. Okay, Tyrese, sometimes he has a few words to say about Giovanni Ribisi because he's spouting off and being a wise ass. Dennis Quaid will chat with this lady, and this lady kind of wants Quaid to behave like a leader, but Quaid doesn't want to. You have this one guy who wants to get home to his family because there's this kid who's been born he's never even seen yet. And again, there's not a whole lot to it. Like, Jared Padalecki, he's not in it that long to really make much of a difference. So it's not much really talked about his character. And they get more into spoilers, get more in specifics. He's the one that gets lost in the storm. And they showed this shot that's supposed to be creepy, but it's like him kind of a skeleton, and like sand is kind of just the idea is the wind blew his skin off. But something about that looked hokey. Something about that looked silly. And not horrifying like it was supposed to. And sometimes the characters do some dumb fucking decisions. Of course, the idea that Dennis Quaid and Tyrese, which Giovanni Ribisi calls him out on it later, as he should, because it was a stupid decision, where there's this giant storm, let's fly right into it, so it makes Quaid look like a dumbass. And he should have been feeling a lot more fucking guilty than he was. Or Jacob Vargas, when they start building the plane, him and Sticky Fingers decide to cook, but they're cooking right next to the goddamn gas cans, barrels. So lo and behold, the embers go over and it blows up a good chunk of the fuel. Although it felt like it didn't really do a whole lot to hurt them because they still had enough fucking fuel to get home. I thought, oh, that fuel blew up now. The bad guys are going to come. They're going to have to defend the plane against these bad guys. No, not really. They show up at the very end as they're flying off, so it doesn't really matter. Or they have to figure out how to get gasoline, so maybe they see a group and they gotta go over there to steal their gasoline for the plane. No. So the gasoline blow up didn't really cause anything to really screw them up. Not really. There's a montage where they're partying to Outkast, hey ya, by idiot Outkast. There's an electrical storm, again, really iffy CGI that they have to prop the plane up because if it hits the plane, there's fuel's going to blow it up. So they're able to do a little bit of that. They notice that there's bandits on the next dune over, so they sneak over to see if they could get help or anything. And they use the song from Massive Attack. I forget what the name is called, but it's like, boom, dum, da-dum, love you, love you, love you, love you. Dun. I think it was on the End of Days soundtrack, or at least it was in some of the TV spots. The End of Days, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. And it was used in other movies too by the band Massive Attack. Like if you hear the song, you're like, yep, that's the one. Again, it's the one that some of the lyrics is love you, love you, love you, love you, do 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 do. Boom, 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 boom. I do like that song. I like that music. One of the guys gets killed, and I thought this looked kind of goofy because it then turned like a Michael Bay moment where the guy gets shot and it's this wide shot where the guy's like and done slow-mo, or like Zack Snyder. Maybe Zack Snyder's the best way to do it. Like, what are you, Zack Snyder all of a sudden? Like, and the guy's flying slow-mo. I'm like, okay. Dennis Quaid kills a couple, one runs off. They can't save the guy. One of the bad guys, they're still alive. Giovanni Ribisi shoots him. I'm like, I can't really blame him for doing that because Ribisi had reason. He's like, granted, he was callous about it, but it was like, we can't, he's going to take our water. We can't afford to lose any more water. I mean, he's right. I mean, you may be arguing Dennis Quaid, but Ribisi's not wrong. Now, Giovanni Ribisi, his character did come off as a bit irritating to me. As I get what they're going with, that he's supposed to be this guy that gets on people's nerves, but the thing is that he's right about it. That makes it infuriating, and then it causes tension between him and the group. But I don't know, just part of me wonders if a different actor should have been cast in that part. Because I don't hate Giovanni Ribisi, but I just don't know if he was the right guy for the part. I don't know. They find out Ribisi, all he did was model planes, but yet he was right about the plane and it worked. A storm happens. the plane gets consumed by sand. Dennis Quaid gives a speech of, come on, we've gone this far. They start digging. Well, you don't see them dig out the plane. It's just all of a sudden the plane's out and they're pulling it. I'm like, it seemed like the big turmoil would be to dig that fucking thing out of the sand, but they decided to cut that. Let's jump ahead for however long it fucking took to do that. They're able to start the plane up. They get on the wings of the plane. Bandits are coming. They fly off. They go off. And at the end, you find out what happened to these characters. Dennis Quaid and Tyrese have their own airline now. Jacob Vargas and Sticky Fingers and this other guy, they have this place for food, restaurant. The one guy got to see his kids and his wife. The one girl got to be on a new oil rig. Hugh, Laurie liked to play golf. Okay. And to the song of Give Me Some Lovin', Give Me Some Lovin'. Oh, one interesting thing is, apparently, at first, they were going to kill off Tyrese's character. Tyrese Gibson. Because, out of curiosity, on YouTube, there's a making of that was on the DVD, but they did not put it on the Blu-ray. I guess because they thought, I don't know, something about it, they thought it was a bit, like, it's a little bit more raw of behind-the-scenes footage. Which, I mean, when I watched it, wasn't that bad. There's one moment where John Moore is yelling at a guy, but I don't blame him because the wind machine was fucking up one of the actors' eyes and they weren't stopping it. And so the director's screaming, "What the fuck, man? Yeah, I know you don't have a fucking walkie-talkie, but you have fucking eyes. You should see what's going on, man." Which is true. Like, if you see an actor, like, fucking eyes ready to bleed out, stop the fucking wind machine. So, as much as I don't like John Moore, I don't think he was really wrong in being pissed about that, but I don't know if that was the only reason that that feature was not on the Blu-ray. But during it, it's mentioned how Tyrese, his character, was going to be killed off. And the studio, last minute, said, no, we can't have one more person die in the movie. And then people on set talk about, well, we were just ready to shoot that scene in like 15 minutes, so now we have to rework stuff. Well, I thought that was interesting to hear about. See, that's the kind of behind-the-scenes stuff that's interesting to hear. Which, maybe that's why at the end, it does look like Tyrese is photoshopped next to Dennis Quaid. Because he probably was. Like, that stuff might have been done earlier in the film. And then, oh, well, he's going to live. Well, now we gotta... If you see, it does look like he was photoshopped to be right next to Dennis Quaid, so... And yeah, like, Tyrese really has, like, nothing to do. And that's why. Because he was supposed to get killed. I don't know how he was supposed to get killed, but... apparently he was supposed to get killed. And yeah, there's this one bit where Tyrese, like, gives something to Dennis Quaid. Like, hold on to this for me. And usually, sometimes when a character does that, it means, okay, they're going to die, so now you have that. And there'll be more of that after the death. Like, the person will look down and remember their friend or whatever. Maybe that's what there was meant to be. Then they didn't shoot that. Does the studios? I mean, the film, I can't remember where I have the DVD. I know I have the DVD somewhere here. At the end of the day, it's one of those films that, like I said, really isn't that exciting. It's one of those films that, I don't know, you kind of watch it and going, it didn't really amount to anything. It didn't really amount to a whole lot of stuff. It just, not a whole lot happens when they're in the desert. Kind of just staying around, work on a plane. That's when you really need to work on a script. You really need to work on these characters and get them to a definitive state of being just these intriguing personalities with really fun dialogue that you can really just hang out with, as well as being part of this. But like I said, you don't really get you don't really get much of attention of what's going on with these characters, like the toll that's taking on them. Again, it's not an awful film. Like, the cast are doing what they can. It's nice to see this different set of actors working together. The aerial shots that show the wide open spaces of the desert are nice to look at for scenery. Like, some decent photography on that front. I couldn't tell you a thing about the score. I don't remember a damn thing about the music. I think in the hands of a better director or a more stronger script, maybe Edward Burns' script was better, or and before it got rewritten, or if you had someone like John Moore, why this guy? Why? Probably because Behind Enemy Lines was a hit. So yeah, let's give him this film. But I don't think this film was a hit. It didn't do anything. In fact, what did it do at the box office? It cost 45 to 75 million. I'm like, well, which is it? It made 21 million in the US. 35 million total. Jesus. It debuted... What did it debut at? Number 7. It debuted at number 7. Wow. What beat it? I'm curious. A series of unfortunate events. Ocean's 12. Spanglish, The Polar Express, Blade Trinity, and National Treasure. Oh, there you go. So yeah, this was a box office flop. It's a film really no one remembers, and you know, when you talk to people, they go, "Just go watch the original." So it's a waste of Dennis Quaid. I think it's a waste of a cast. Could have been a lot better. To me, it's because of the director that was chosen. Again, I liked it Behind Enemy Lines, but that was the exception, not the rule. Again, you would see with the Omen remake and Max Payne, he's not the guy you want for your film. Because he doesn't really breed... I mean, the only style he brought was these two scenes that just came off as weird for this movie. One was the all of a sudden slow-mo, someone getting shot as if it was fucking Zack Snyder. And then there's this one scene where Sticky Fingers early on wants to leave, and they're trying to explain them what's going to happen. So then it shows like these little snippets of him walking through the desert and like all these weird things that would happen to him if he decides to go out there, and it's like those. That's really the only time the director wanted to be stylistic. Other than that, pretty blasé direction. So take that for what you will. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and fuck John Moore. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.